Has your voice ever changed? Of course, there's a phase in human life when our voice tends to change during adolescence, especially in boys. Also, there are instances when we have abused and overused our voices so that we can have a sore throat that leads to a harsh or even hoarse voice. Do you like your own voice? Honestly, I don't. I always wanted an angelic voice, but unfortunately, I wasn't gifted. I also love singing, but singing doesn't love me. So I've just settled on singing in the bathroom, where I can imagine my voice rocks the house. Do you enjoy recording your voice and listening to it? No way. My voice is so horrible that I myself am terrified of it. I can't stand listening to it, but I have no choice. I must admit, I recorded it once and listened to it. That's the time I realized never again. Does your voice sound similar to your parents? Unfortunately not. My dad is an excellent singer, and my grandmother used to tell me stories about my father's childhood. They would go to a radio station and he would sing live and on air, but I guess I wasn't able to inherit his genes.
Voice. Do you like your voice? Well, I think I do, because a lot of people say that my voice sounds pretty sexy. I'm sorry, I'm just being narcissistic. I like my voice mainly because it's unique, right? It's one of a kind. No other person in this whole world has the same kind of voice, and that's why I like it. I'm proud of it. Has your voice ever changed? Let me think about it. Well, I think it has. When I was in my teenage years, I guess I was 13 or 14, my voice got a lot more manly than before. It used to be like a child's voice, but then later it changed to some extent. Do you enjoy recording your voice and listening to it? Well, I don't enjoy doing that, but I have to do it every single day, mainly because it's a big part of learning English. You know, I've been trying to improve my speaking over the last 3 months, and actually 4 months. And a big part of my practice is recording my English and then listening back, because that helps me find some errors, grammatical errors I make from time to time. So yeah, I do it on a daily basis actually.
Do people's voice change? Yeah, definitely. Generally, people's voice deepens when they reach the puberty. Both boys and girls will experience a lowering of average speaking pitch area. Meanwhile, the quality of sound becomes fruity or even husky instead of being clear and childlike. On top of this, another typical change for boys is that the voice box will become noticeably apparent in their teens compared to that in their childhood. Do you like to record yourself and listen to your voice? Not really, to be honest. Every time I heard it, I cringe. Actually, I always shy away from listening to my recordings because I think my voice on camera is horrible and bizarre. And I think not just me, but many people hate listening to playback, as hearing yourself from the third person makes you feel really self-conscious. Is your voice similar to your mom's? Well, yeah. I think our voice is almost identical. People who ring our house always confuse me with my mom, in the sense that we both have the same voice. Actually, I look like my mom as well. Since I was little, I've always been the spitting image of my mom. Many people say I'm just a carbon copy of my mom.
Now let's talk about voice. Do you like your own voice? Yeah, I mean, it's part of my body and I've already get used to it. Although my voice is a little bit low, that's just me. Has your voice changed? Well, yeah, when I was a kid, my voice was in high pitch, but now it goes like this. I don't know what's that period called. I know that everyone goes through that period of time. Do you enjoy recording your voice and listen to it? Not at all. That kills me, you know. My voice sounds stupid in recording. Like, recently I was preparing for my IELTS speaking, and my speaking teacher suggested me to record some clips to polish my accent and intonation. You know what? The moment I heard my voice from the cell phone, I was like, fuck me, and I just turned it off. Does your voice sound similar to your parents? Not really. I think voice cannot be passed down from senior generation. So my parents and I are quite different in voice pitch. Mine is low and my parents are higher than mine.
Do you enjoy recording your voice and listening to it? Well, in general, I don't really like to record my voice because I guess my voice in audio sounds a little bit different from the reality. However, sometimes I would record my voice from time to time just in order to practice my speaking. Does your voice sound similar to your parents? Well, I guess my voice sounds a little bit similar to my mother because my mother used to be the music teacher in the primary school. Her voice is a little bit sweet and clear. So I do learn several pronunciation skills since I was a child. So I do think my voice sounds a little bit same like my mother.
Has your voice ever changed? Well, I think it's an interesting question. I don't really pay attention to whether my voice has changed a lot. Since I'm a boy, I think of course, it did change. When I turned into my adulthood, or maybe prior to my adolescence, my voice changed from being very sharp, or just sound like a girl, to more like a boy sounding, more magnetic. So, do you enjoy recording your voice and listening to it? Frankly speaking, nope. Because I don't intend to become a broadcaster in the future, nor a singer or something like that. So I think I would not always use my voice to make money and just to start a career. So I don't really care too much about recording my own voice. I will record my voice if I have to. In some conversations with some important people, I will do that.
Do you like your own voice? Not really. To be honest, I think my voice is too dull. I wish it was a bit more clear sounding. When I go to karaoke with friends, they always make fun of my voice and ask me to stop murdering them with my singing. I know they're just teasing me, but there's some truth in it. Anyway, I don't have much confidence about my voice. Has your voice ever changed? Yes, but it happened only once, during puberty. In junior high school, people around me told me my voice changed a bit. Together with other body changes, of course. They said I sounded less like a girl, but more mature. But that was it. Afterwards, I have not noticed any change in my voice at all. Do you enjoy recording your voice and listening to it? Absolutely not. Considering how little confidence I have in my voice, I find it awkward to listen to it. Listening to my voice makes me wonder why people can tolerate my voice. However, from time to time, I do send voice messages on WeChat and listen to them after sending, just to make sure that the message is clear and won't cause any misunderstanding. Does your voice sound similar to your parents? Not really. My voice sounds nothing like my parents. But should they sound similar? Every person has a unique voice, and that's why we can recognize a person simply by his voice. As a matter of fact, I can't recall anyone I know whose voice sounds similar to that of his parents. However, I have noticed some of my friends speak in similar intonations as their parents do.
All right, let's talk about voice. Has your voice ever changed? Yeah, it has. I think I was in middle school, about 13 years old at the time. And for a couple months, my voice went through a tremendous change. And, it became more of a man's voice. It became thicker and heavier. And after that, I also became a much better singer. Do you like your own voice? Oh, yeah, I do. I, I might sound like bragging, but I think I have a beautiful voice. And I'm actually kind of a singer-songwriter, and I write songs and I sing them myself. And I really like listening to my own music. Do you enjoy recording your voice and listening to it? Yeah, I do. Like I said, I do my own music, so I listen to that. I also do podcasts sometimes, not regularly, but occasionally I do a podcast and I record myself talking about something. And after that, I would listen to the recording, and I think I sound pretty cool. Yeah. Does your voice sound similar to your parents? No. And I think it's a little weird because, I would suppose I should sound like my parents because we share the same kind of DNA, but I don't. And it could be because that I'm kind of a rebel, and when I was a child, I was really defiant. And I guess when I was growing up, I was unconsciously trying to be different from my parents. So that could be the reason why I don't sound like my parents.
Voice. Has your voice ever changed? That's a curious question. To be honest, I'm not quite sure. My voice has got deeper with age. That is what usually happens. When we are younger, our voices are higher and softer, and our voices gradually get deeper the older we get. I think that's how my voice has changed. Do you enjoy recording your voice and listening to it? No, I hate it. Though some people say I have a nice voice, I personally do not like the sound of my own voice. I think a lot of people feel like this. A lot of people feel self-conscious about their own voices when they hear them on recordings. I think it's a common feeling for most people.
Okay, here is a part 1 video on the topic of walking. Let's have a listen.
Do you walk a lot? Absolutely. Walking is the simplest form of exercise to keep us healthy and fit. I'm not a fan of running or jogging, and at the same time, I'm not a gym buff.
Okay, so he's telling us what's good about walking. It's the simplest form of exercise. That's good. I'm not a fan of noun, and at the same time, I'm not a gym buff. Buff is a good word to use. If you are like an expert or you enjoy doing something, you are a buff in that field.
Fan of running or jogging, and at the same time, I'm not a gym buff. So I prefer walking instead of doing some strenuous activity.
And some more grammar. If you look at this, I prefer VING instead of VING. And here we have this great adjective, strenuous activity. Strenuous activity would be, well, like something that you would do at the gym. And the next question.
Do you walk more often than in the past?
Okay, so we're going to expect to see some adjectives here. Adjectives of comparison.
To be honest, I walked more frequently in
So here we have it, more frequently.
past than recently. I guess I've been living a sedentary lifestyle lately, since I have so much work to do.
Sedentary, yeah, that's a word that's often used. Don't think that this is a particularly high-level word to use. It's not.
As a matter of fact, I spend most of my time in front of my computer, and that's why I have less time to walk.
Okay, giving us a reason. Let's move on.
Do you think people will walk more in the future, or not?
This is a very hard question to answer. Surprisingly enough, most people I talk to say yes.
I guess for people who are health conscious, there's no doubt that they will continue exercising.
Okay, health conscious, that's not a bad phrase to use. Health conscious.
Which includes walking. However, for people who are workaholics whose jobs are related to computers, I guess they won't walk as much.
See, to me, this doesn't really address the future part of the question. He's just talking about this present situation. But it's a difficult question to answer, so I guess you're going to have to let it slide.
Also, technology always finds ways to make life easier and makes people a bit lazier too.
I just wish he would give an example here. How does technology make people lazy? I don't know if that's actually true. I mean, I think people are working more and more than ever before. But if you are going to say technology makes us lazier, that's fine. But then give an example and connect that back to the question, how does that affect how much people are going to walk in the future? And he didn't do that.
Where do you usually take a walk? The first thing that pops into my mind is the park.
Okay, when he says the first thing that pops into my mind is the park, he makes it sound very natural. Most people, when they say the first thing that comes to mind, and if you think about using this phrase, please don't think that you are unique. 90% of people use this phrase somewhere, especially in part 2, where it doesn't really make sense. But anyway, he makes it sound natural, but most people, when they say the first thing that pops into my mind is the park, they don't really pull it off very well. It doesn't sound very natural. It sounds very rehearsed.
I like to hang out there since I can feast my eyes on different natural scenery while...
Okay, the feast my eyes, that is a good phrase. A natural scenery, yeah, good phrase.
strolling. I can breathe fresh air, enjoy the colourful and scented flowers.
Notice the intonation, fresh air, up. Colorful and scented flowers, up.
As well as watch children play and the elderly do some square dancing.
And here at the end it goes down on dancing.
It's a very relaxing place.
Man, these answers are getting better. This one is actually quite long. Not bad.
Walking. Do you like to walk?
Why is he speaking so
So
slow?
far, so good.
This doesn't make sense. So far, so good. What does that mean? Very weird to say it here.
I wasn't quite taken with outdoor activities until the number on the weighting scale.
It's weighing scale, not weighting scale. I wasn't quite taken with outdoor activities. Okay, the taken, yeah, that's good. I didn't quite like outdoor activities.
Scale scared me. So I do walking or jogging every day, either in the morning or in the evening.
Here's a native speaker reading, sounding very unnatural.
Do you like to walk on your own or with others?
I like to walk alone because it leaves me with space to think. If I walk with others, I have to try my best to make conversation.
If you do this in the test, I'm pretty sure the examiner is going to say, why? Why do you feel you have to make conversation?
Would you think your city is a good place to walk?
I don't know why this is would you think. Why is it not do you think?
For the most part, I don't think so, because we have serious traffic congestions. So
Why not say serious traffic congestion? Why congestions? Congestion is not a countable noun, uncountable noun.
the car exhaust fumes are really heavy, but there are places or parks which are suitable for walking.
And I often go to, because remember the question is, do you think your city is a good place to walk? So if you go to some places, don't just say there are some places that are suitable for walking. Like, where do you go? What places, what parks do you go to? Remember, personalize part 1.
Do you think it helps with health?
This is such an odd question. What does the it refer to? Is it walking?
Yeah, it can enhance the lung capacity.
Nobody says the lung capacity. People are always going to say it enhances or it can enhance your lung capacity or people's lung capacity.
And also it builds muscles. It can
Does it? Okay.
improve our blood circulation and make us have a good body.
Make us have a good body. What does that mean? Does that mean help us get in shape? Maybe that's what she means, and help us get in shape?
Walking. Do you walk a lot? Well, do I walk a lot?
Yeah, be careful with repeating what the examiner says too often.
I think the difficulty of answering this question is the definition of a lot.
Fair enough. So it might depend on what you mean by a lot.
I mean, I do walk for about 30 or 40 minutes every day, particularly after dinner.
I think most people would say this is a lot. And did you notice the stress on do? I do walk a lot.
Every day around 7 or 7:30, my parents and I just go for a walk around our neighborhood.
Rising intonation on neighborhood.
And at the same time, we talk with each other. I think
And drop on either. He started to go up here, but then when he got to either, it dropped because that's the last thought there.
this is pretty good because it helps us keep fit and it's a good
I think that's what the other woman wanted to say. Instead of saying helps us have a good body, why not say helps us keep fit or helps us keep in shape or something like that?
and it's a good time for us to hang out and chat with each other. It's good for us to bond.
It's a good way for us to bond, maybe. But hey, I'm nitpicking there.
Do you walk more often now than in the past? Well, let me think about it. Well, yeah, I think I do. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, I used to have an expanding waistline.
That's another way of saying, and it's a good way of saying you're gaining weight. Expanding waistline. Very nice.
Because at that time I didn't work out at all. And in addition to that, I used to eat a lot of junk food on a daily basis.
He loves saying daily basis. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's see here. And in addition to that, okay, yeah, some nice cohesion going on here, tying these two ideas together with, in addition to that.
I used to eat a lot of junk food on a daily basis. Well, not necessarily every day, but yeah, I ate a great amount of junk food. And now I am more health conscious than before, so I just try to walk every single day, like I said just now.
Okay, okay, it's fine, it's fine.
Do you think people will take a walk more often in the future? Well, I'm not sure about this. I do believe that
There's nothing wrong with saying you're not sure about these questions that ask you to speculate. I mean, speculation is hard.
people will do more physical activity in the future.
Physical activity, that's a good phrase.
But it will probably not only be walking.
Stress on only, not only be walking.
There are other sports, other kinds of exercise.
Notice the pauses here. There are other sports, kind of exercise.
Kinds of exercise, like jogging, cycling, swimming, and so on. And people will just
Notice the very, very good use of pausing here.
do any of these more in the future than in the past.
I don't know why though. I would say why. If I was the examiner here, I would say why. Why do you think that? I'm not clear on the reasoning for his answer.
And in the past.
Oh, I should just say, you don't always have to give reasons for your answers. I know a lot of people think they need to give reasons because if you look at a book or if you listen to some people talk, they will have the question and at the end they say why. The why is just if your answer is too short or it's not clear to the examiner. It doesn't mean that you always have to give reasons to your answers.
Do you work a lot? Not really. I mean, I know I should, but I'm always desk-bound.
Desk-bound. This guy has a very strong accent and he talks a bit slowly.
You know, there are tons of classes and homework. And when they are all done, I would already be exhausted.
Okay, I don't know why there's a would here, because this is all present tense. I have a lot of homework and classes, and when I finish my homework, I'm already exhausted. I don't know why the would is here.
Exhausted and not want to move at all. Where do you usually take a walk? In my compound.
Now, I don't know if he really lives in a compound. I mean, maybe he does, but I think what he wants to say is apartment complex. Apartment complex. But hey, maybe he does live in a compound. But a compound is like a fenced off building. It's difficult to get into. It's got a fence around it. Or maybe it's like a gated community. Maybe, but I think what he's trying to say is apartment complex.
Which has incredible landscaping. Like there are a great deal of trees.
A great deal of trees. That is very strange. A great deal is usually used with uncountable nouns. I think what he's trying to say is a great number of trees, not a great deal of trees.
Flowers all year round, and winding gravel paths.
Well, there's no article here, so I'm imagining there should be paths, or if it's one path, it's got to be a.
My compound is usually very quiet, which makes it pleasant to walk around. What
Okay.
do you think?
Alright, the relative clause here, that's nice, which makes it, using the present tense to describe something. Which makes it, yeah, that's good.
What do you think are the benefits of walking? Quite a few. First, walking is beneficial for digestion of food.
Here we would say the digestion of food.
That's why there is an old saying in China, which is, walk 100 steps after each meal, and you will live to 99 years old.
Now, I don't know what the Chinese saying is, but in English this sounds a little bit off. You will live to be 99? Or you will live to... No, I can't really think of anything else. Just you will live to 99, or you will live to be 99. But not you will live to 99 years old. You will live to 99, or live to be 99.
Second, walking can make a person more productive because walking gives the brain a break.
Okay, so here the brain, as in the earlier sentence where you say digestion. What did he say? The digestive process, right? Oh, sorry, digestion. So the digestion of food, the brain.
A break. Just like turning the computer off for a while, and the brain will run much faster when it switches back to work mode.
I don't really understand this analogy, but I guess I don't need to, because we just need to look at the language. When it switches back to work mode, what is he talking about? Oh. When you walk, your brain turns off. I mean, I don't think that's true, but I can't fault the language.
Would you say that your city is a good place for walking? Definitely. I mean, there are many parks and
Okay, here we see some stress coming into his voice. Many parks.
countless green spaces in my city, and I often see a lot of people walking in them.
Okay, his rhythm is getting better here, I think, but it still sounds a little bit off. Because why is the in and the them not connected? I see a lot of people walking in them. But he says in them.
And I often see a lot of people walking in them.
I guess he tried. Okay, alright. He made some effort.
That in every residential neighborhood,
But he's got weird neighborhood. Why does his voice go up here? Residential neighborhood.
There are plenty of walking paths. Did you walk a lot when you were a child? To be honest, I don't remember.
To be honest, why don't you remember? Why is his voice going up here? He's got a very sing-song way of talking.
It very clearly, but my
Very clearly. Now he's beginning to sound a bit annoying.
parents used to take me to parks on the weekends, as they often tell me so now. So
Wait, what? My parents used to take me to parks on the weekends, as they often tell me so now. I don't understand what this means. Do you mean now they tell you that in the past they used to tell you to go to a park? Or they used to take you to a park? Okay. I'm a little bit confused by this phrase here.
often tell me so now. So
Oh, right. Because here, so I assume.
I assume I walked quite a bit when I was.
Well, obviously that's not what he said, right? So I assume I walked quite a bit. Let's try that again.
As they often tell me so now. So I assume I walked quite a bit when I was a kid.
Okay. I mean, the language is fine. The delivery is just odd, the way the guy talks.
Let's talk about walking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you walk a lot?
Whoa, this guy is really trying the British accent here. Do you walk a lot? Okay.
I guess I do. I think on average I walk for about 2 hours a day.
Okay, this guy sounds much more natural.
Of course, that varies. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes more, sometimes less.
Sometimes I capitalize words for no reason. But listen to his rhythm here. Sometimes more, sometimes less.
Of course, that varies. You know, sometimes more, sometimes less, according to what I'm doing on the day. But generally speaking, I walk a lot.
According to, maybe depending what I'm doing on any given day. Not according to. So, you know, it varies, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on what I'm doing on a particular day. But generally speaking, I walk a lot.
Generally speaking, I walk a lot.
Notice the pause here. Generally speaking, I walk a lot.
I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Alright, he felt it necessary to throw in that last sentence there. Alright, never mind.
Do you walk more often than in the past? Okay. If you mean the past, like when I was a kid or a teenager,
Yeah, see, that's why this question is... Okay, but I mean, sometimes you do get questions that say the past, right? And you can't ask the examiner to clarify what they mean in part one. So this is fine. So if you can say this, so if you mean the past, like when I was a kid or a teenager, yeah, it's a fine strategy to use.
then yeah, I definitely walk a lot more now. Because when I was a teenager, I think most of the time I was sitting, like either sitting in the class or sitting.
I would drop the sitting in class because you're usually in the same class, right?
In front of a computer, playing games or that sort of thing.
Okay, nice rhythm, sitting in front of the computer, yeah.
I did do some sports around then, but not so much walking.
Not so much walking down. Just here, I don't know why on that sort of thing. I don't know, here his voice went up for no reason. But okay. Generally though, his intonation is very accurate.
Do you think people will walk more in the future? I can't say for sure, but I'm hoping that people will walk more because I think the majority of people today are really in need of more exercise.
Okay, the grammar here is pretty good. The majority of people today, that's a nice phrase, in need of noun, more exercise. Good.
And walking is perhaps the greatest kind of workout that you can do.
Okay, and the grammar is really accurate.
So hopefully, as people become more health conscious, they're going to want to walk more to improve their health.
And again, here we see him using health conscious, just like someone else did. Yeah, that's a great phrase to use when talking about health, right?
Where do you usually take a walk? Well, on campus. I'm not a student anymore, but I...
Why is this capitalized? Let's drop that.
Well, on campus. I'm not a student anymore, but I still live near a university campus. And, when I have time, I just go there and walk around a little bit.
Some answers are going to be shorter than others. Yeah, it's fine.
Do you walk a lot? I walk a lot, yes.
This guy again.
In fact, I count my steps on my mobile phone health app, and I do about 12,000 steps per day.
Nobody talks like this, but okay, like I said before, I guess he wants to give a good example.
This is mainly for two reasons. I commute to work and walk to the subway, and then walk from the subway stop to my office every morning, and then the reverse journey each evening.
Reverse journey. Yes, good. He could have, because here there's a verb, right? And then walk. Here there's no verb, which is okay, but you could have said, and then I do the reverse journey each evening. But yeah, reverse journey, that's a great phrase to use when you're talking about commuting, right?
And the reverse journey each evening. And I also regularly walk my father's dog several evenings a week around the neighbourhood. And on the weekends, I go out with my friends shopping or...
Okay, now the answer gets to the point where you should try to wrap it up.
Restaurants, cafes or bars. So in an average week, I spend a lot of time walking.
And I guess this is it. Yeah, part one, you don't need the summary. Leave it out.
Do you walk more or less than you did in the past? I'm not sure, to be honest. I've always had...
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know why he doesn't use a rising intonation.
a habit of walking. I'm not a very sedentary person. I'm pretty active, even though I don't do much sport.
It sounds like he's reading a story to someone. That's really what his voice comes across as.
I'd say I probably walk about the same amount now as in the past.
Okay, here's some good language here. Okay, so I probably walk about the same amount. So if you want to talk about walking, this is how you can measure it. The same amount. Or a greater amount than in the past.
Do you walk on your own or with others?
This is such a weird question.
Well, when I'm commuting to work, I'm walking on my own at a pretty fast pace.
If you walk to work, is that a commute? Isn't commute like when you take a bus or a train? What?
In the evening, sometimes my friend comes with me while I'm walking the dog. And on weekends, I usually hang out with friends. So when I walk on the weekends, I'm walking with them. Would you say that your city is a good place for walking?
Let's see if he's going to get into specific detail.
In some ways, it's pretty good. In other ways, it's not really very good.
Not really very good. Okay, here he's attempting to sound natural. I don't know if he pulls it off.
It depends on the area where you live and regularly walk. My area of the city...
My area, okay. Some stress there.
Pretty good, to be honest. Wide pavements, lots of pedestrian areas, trees and shopping squares and some parks.
Okay. Here when he lists, it does sound a little bit more natural. Lots of pedestrian areas, trees, shopping squares and some parks.
However, there are other areas...
And some nice pausing here. However...
There are other areas where there are just huge roads, ugly overpasses, crazy traffic and unpleasant buildings. So it really depends.
I can't really fault the language, just the delivery.
Do you think people will take walks more or less in the future?
Okay, so a slight variation on the same question. He just said take walks more often, more or less.
I think in the future people will walk more, actually.
People will walk more, actually. I just wish he would just put some life into his voice.
I think that people today are much more aware of health and exercise issues.
Okay, aware, issues. Yeah, these two words go well together. Aware and issues. And he explains which ones, health and exercise. All right.
Exercise issues. Like I mentioned before, these mobile phone health apps that count your steps and allow you to compare your steps with your friends raise a lot of awareness about the importance.
This answer is more reminiscent of like a part 3 answer. It's not, because why is he not talking about himself? Oh, okay, because the question is not about him. All right, fair enough. Okay, so let's see here. Raised, awareness. Yes, very good. These two words go well together. Raised a lot of awareness about the importance of noun. What's the noun? Physical exercise. Okay, good.
Exercise. Also, for environmental reasons, people want to walk more and take transport less.
I can't get over how much it sounds to me like this guy is like reading a story to some children sitting on the floor in front of him. That's what it sounds like. Doesn't sound like talking, sounds a lot like reading.